Hello, hello, hello.
Welcome back. Hello,
Uh,
hello.
hello, hello, hello.
Hello.
It,
Hello.
it's
How
been
many times do you can say hello? Or many different ways can you say hello?
uh,
General Kenobi. That's one.
Hello there.
Hello.
hello,
That's two.
hello.
How do you say in Jabba the Hutt?
Uh,
Japanese.
I don't know.
Ho,
I don't.
ho, ho. Solo.
Solo.
Hello.
Punta Mata Quista.
Utamata Quista. Okay. So
Yeah.
we're back after
Yes.
1 week.
As promised.
And we respect the 1 week, so now we can spoil the shit out.
Yes. Let's spoil something.
Okay, favorite character of the Rogue Squadron.
Rogue.
Yeah, what's I
Bad.
already forgot what was the Bad Batch. Okay, I was already forgetting the name of the show.
You, sir, strike first.
Yeah. My would be Wrecker.
Same.
Wrecker is just that. It's the soul of the spirit of the team.
Yeah, definitely.
It's
yeah.
it's not it's not what's the name of the Rambo guy?
Hunter.
Hunter. It's not Hunter. It's not the girl, which I
Omega.
already also forgot the
Omega.
name.
Omega.
Omega. It's not Icross or Crosshair.
Crosshair.
Crosshair sounds like a weird name for him
Yeah, very, very
because
weird.
he's bald, so his hair is never crossed. So weird name.
Well, but Crosshair is the name that you give like the bullseye of a sniper rifle.
Why didn't Disney call him Bullseye or
Because he's not a target. I
like
guess
Sniper?
since he's not a target. I don't know.
Crosshair is just like someone who has hair that is crossed and is bald.
Yeah, I would have to say that was Wrecker, definitely.
Wrecker,
Yeah,
Wrecker.
he's like a big child.
Yeah,
But
it's like
he's not limited to being a big child, you know. He
Yeah.
has some depth to it. He
Yeah.
actually has some character to him, which is very interesting, especially in the final episodes when Crosshair becomes more involved with them, you know, like with the chase and the fact that Crosshair is giving them a chance to escape, and we can actually see how Wrecker has like grown as a character, I think.
Yeah. But although I like Wrecker, there's another character which I liked, but not because it's a Star Wars character, because it reminded me a character from another franchise, which was Sid. Because usually Sid is a name for a character that appears in almost every single Final Fantasy game. It just depends on the adaptation of that character. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
For example, on Final Fantasy, I don't think that it's on Final Fantasy 7. I think it's on 8. He appears as a mechanic, and then he appears again as a mechanic, but a girl mechanic, or Cindy, I think, but or Sid something, a female version of the name Sid appears on Final Fantasy 15. I think there's also one in on the other franchises. I know that I think not know for sure, but I think that Sid is one of like trademarks of Final Fantasy, including the Chocobo and so forth. On the returning to the issue of the Bad Batch, what do you think it was the flaw concerning the show?
The way that they treated Echo. I think that they actually underused Echo, you know. He's like just there in this first season. He's like just existing, you know.
Mm-hmm.
He doesn't have a lot of scenes.
Uses.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he doesn't have a lot of scenes to showcase what he can bring to the Bad Batch. He doesn't have a lot of script, you know. He doesn't have a lot of lines as well. So I think they actually misused them. He's very underused, if you prefer this term. I'm hoping that they change it in the second season, to be honest, because Echo is probably like my second or third favorite clone from the Clone Wars.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, there was a big opportunity to take Echo to a new direction, you know, and he just kept on being like that clone that still lives the Clone Wars, you know.
A little bit. I think that, but I think that point of that final point that you did for Echo that is still in the Clone Wars makes sense because he didn't really experience the full capacity of the Clone Wars. Because most of the time he was not present, let's say this, and just in the final chapter of the Clone Wars, he appears again, is rescued, is transformed, if you prefer, and they try to give him an extra life, but in an extra life in a show that adds a different sense of opportunity, if you know where I'm getting, because he was captive during the Clone Wars, so he didn't experience the full lifetime of a Clone War during the war. He was a prisoner. He was using as a freaking computer. So all the others had traumas and had experienced the Clone Wars. It was just present at the beginning, and then at the end. So I think he's inexperienced per se. On another note, I think that the joke they made with him was kind of funny, but also kind of forced.
Which one?
Is there an echo here? I'm here.
Yeah, I'm here. I'm Echo. Yeah. That was the funniest bit that he has in the show.
Yeah, I think it's the only bit he has in the show.
It's forced, yeah.
Yeah.
But I think that it actually fits the character because like he is still very mechanized, you know. His head, you said, he is very mechanized. So
I think that they blame on Crosshair to remain so focused on the same subject, but in that term, I think that Echo is even more blindfolded than Crosshair.
Oh yeah, definitely, because Crosshair, even in the episodes where the Bad Batch appears in the Clone Wars, we can already see that Crosshair is a little bit different from the others. You know, he's more of a loner. He is more of he has like a sinister aura to him, and when they announced that they were going to give us the show about the Bad Batch, I immediately thought that, yeah, Crosshair is going
He's
to
gonna be the rogue one, yeah.
Yeah, Crosshair is going to be the bad guy, and Crosshair will be loyal to the Empire. My doubt was if that loyalty was because of the chips, or if he was just
Any genes.
yeah, if he was just a psychotic guy, you know. And the finale, the first this season's finale, doesn't give us a straight answer, because yes, he does say, I have had my chip removed a long time ago. Yeah, he does say that, but it's kind of unclear,
Is it
you know.
true?
Yeah, the way that he says that, it looks like it is it looks like he's like lying to cover up something, you know.
Yeah.
So I guess we will have to see how this pans out, because we know that the clones are already being replaced by new recruits. So
DK soldiers.
yeah, so and we also know that the Empire started to steadily replace the clones with recruits. So I don't know if he will handle well being replaced by the Empire, because he will continue to fail, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
And we all know also that the Empire doesn't have a lot of patience with failure. So, and if the clones are going to be replaced anyway, so they will replace all the ones that are unfit to fight for the Empire. So I don't know how Crosshair will handle it, you know?
Mm-hmm. We'll have to see. I think that at some point, as it was later revealed, earlier revealed by another shows, some clones survived, as we all know. Worf, Gregor showed up this season, which was fucking great.
Captain Traitor.
Captain Traitor, which already had his hysterical laugh.
Yeah. Yeah.
I was watching that episode and was like, who the fuck is this guy? When the guy laughed,
You immediately
I was like,
say,
oh
yes.
shit.
Yes, I know.
So basically, we're down to one remaining of that crew that appears on
Rebels. Which is Wolf.
Yeah.
We still need to know what happened to him. Yeah.
We just need to find what happened to that one. But where was I going with this? I think that, well, Star Wars being Star Wars with Disney, either two things happen, or actually three. At some point, Crosshair goes fully bananas, or at some point he goes, yay, good team, or some point he goes Darth Vader on episode 6. And knowing Star Wars Disney as it is, I bet, honestly, that it's going to be Darth Vader on episode 6. How? I guess I'll bet this moment that will have something to do with Omega. But yeah, I think she's going to turn him around. He's going to have his moment of redemption, save her, and God knows what.
Yeah, we can actually get a glimpse of it in the final frames of this last episode
Yeah.
where she actively tries to
Pull him back.
bring him to reason, by saving him, like by continuously speaking to him and trying
You're my
to
brother, Anakin. Basically, this is
basically, which is pretty standard by Star Wars standards. And I'm sorry for repeating the words, but it is literally the only
standards.
way to, it is the only way to actually say it, because it's a theme that repeats
itself
throughout Star Wars. So
which is something
I'm not saying that this is a bad thing. I'm just saying that it's one of the themes.
It's not a bad thing, but it's sometimes good to be surprised. And even though, for example, Mandalorian enters into the chapter of somewhat the savior, or the rogue savior, which was basically Han Solo in the movies, in the first movies. I think that Mandalorian is one of those that really escapes the traditional way of Star Wars storytelling, at least in TVs and movies.
Yeah, because
which made it fucking great.
I think that it happens on The Mandalorian for, well, there are a lot of reasons for it, but one of the main reasons is that the fact that it's live action, it's not as directly aimed at kids as the cartoon shows, and the themes that The Mandalorian explores are somewhat darker and shadier than the other ones. Yeah, on the Bad Batch and on the Clone Wars and on the Rebels, there is like the war and the consequences of the wars. But if we look closely on The Mandalorian, there's bounty hunting, there's
revenge,
smuggling, and all kinds of
drugs.
So there's all kinds of black market shit happening throughout the 2 seasons that we already have, and the only thing I can believe is that the third season will be more aligned with it, with the difference that since we no longer have Grogu, possibly. Maybe we can.
Maybe not. Maybe. I think there's some.
I think that
rumors.
I think that he will appear anyway,
Yeah.
but he won't be like a
baby.
I don't think that he will be as present. He won't be in every episode. Not all the episodes will be revolving around him. So I think that in the third season they can actually explore a little bit further the conflicts between the Mandalorians and what happened to the group from where the Mandalorian came, and maybe it can be a more dark and aggressive season, maybe.
Mm-hmm. No, I think if they grabbed with that, it would be great.
Yeah. And I think that the Book of Boba Fett will also be in this same line.
Idea, in this mindset.
Especially because it will be directly produced by Robert Rodriguez. So
yeah,
if someone watches a typical Robert Rodriguez movie, I'm not talking about Spy Kids, but if you watch like Mariachi or Machete,
Spy Kids was very dark.
Yeah, but it's not like Machete or...
No, it's not like Machete, but it's like a Machete for kids.
Yeah, it's Machete for kids, yeah. it's kind of the same universe. It's like Robert Rodriguez. It's like Robert Rodriguez light, you know.
Yeah.
But but by thinking about this, you can actually imagine what the Book of Boba Fett will be. So that's why they're going on a different direction with the Bad Batch in regards to the other two shows, because it's still Dave Filoni, but it's good that they use different shows and different platforms to explore different views and different eras inside the Star Wars lore.
Ideas and set minds, yeah. I think that in that evaluation, I think that all the shows, even though they are becoming darker, and I mean Clone Wars right at the beginning was fucking hell dark. Rebels last season was fucking hell dark.
Yeah, the Rebels was very light compared to what the Clone Wars was, but Rebels did have its moments, especially after the second season. It did have a lot of dark moments, and there were moments where you actually thought, this isn't for kids, which was basically a pretty standard thought by watching the Clone Wars, which was even more aggressive. But yeah, I think that's positive that they are branching out to different ideas and different approaches. And I think that a good example of this is by giving Taika Waititi a Star Wars movie, for instance.
I think in the terms of the Taika Waititi would be a mixed mindset, meaning he can go like super hell funny, but also super dark, and he intercrosses in the middle, like that dark sense of humor.
Yeah, with him, you never know what you can expect.
Yeah,
because he can either go full bananas, and do something out of the box like he did with the third Thor, which is completely different, not only from the first two, but also completely different from what we've seen inside the MCU.
Yeah,
by that time,
it goes like really happy jokes, but still in a retrospective memory voyage for Thor and what he is, why he was dumped, and he starts to think a lot, and at some point he was like doing A-okay due to that, and then he became A-not okay due to that, and then Endgame at the mixture was it was a shit show of emotions and hormones. He couldn't deal.
He could either like do that, or he could go the way he did with Jojo Rabbit, which is a different path. It's still a very funny movie. I mean, Jojo Rabbit is definitely a comedy, but it still has those
dark
moments.
Comedy.
Yeah, it has those moments where he actually touches like the darkest corner of your soul, And this is by only judging his latest work, If we go back and judge like his earlier work, like when he started with horror movies and shit, like I don't know what to expect from a movie by him.
When I think Taika Waititi, I always think of What We Do in the Shadows, the first movie.
Definitely, yeah.
Because it was that group project where it was funny as hell, but a very dark humor funny. People are being killed and you're laughing. That was the fucking mindset of the movie. People are dying, you're laughing. Why? Because these vampires are fucking stupid. They are killing people, but they're fucking stupid.
Yeah.
But I think that Um, I think that Mandalorian went for the mindset behind Rogue One and Solo, because those two were more dark, and the other shows, Clone Wars, Rebels, and Bad Batch, go through the mindset of the movies, but they don't have to always be that much of a jolly. They try to grab the dark feelings that existed in the movies and turn it up a little bit more, that they are not concerned to not be received, because they already are being received in their full capacity.
Yeah, because in my opinion, Star Wars has an advantage. Like if we like comparing with the other Disney properties, because that's basically what we can also discuss. If we compare Star Wars with the other Disney properties, Star Wars has something that the others don't. Star Wars is so large in by itself that it's a universe of its own. So inside it, you can create any type of story and craft any type of movie without being chained by storylines, like comparing with Marvel directly,
Yeah,
You
Marvel has a lot of timelines and setups, but
And-
every time they try to do a fucking change.
Yeah, and not only that, but inside the MCU, you can do the same thing. You can do any type of movie with any type of story. The difference is with Marvel, you are chained to some extent to existing storylines from comic books.
Yeah.
And you have, in these situations, it's important to think of the audience, and a lot of the audience is people that got interested in superheroes by watching the movies, but there's still a large slice of the audience that reads and follows comic books since they were kids, and comic books for them, sort of like for you and me,
Are they media?
no, they're not that media, but they are like
No, I
something-
meant in
something
I meant in the way of media of connecting their mindset, their experience, their memories, their fun times,
It's-
bad times.
yeah, it's like a part of themselves, They
Yeah.
feel like comic books are a part of themselves, and they are so excited to see them being adapted properly to the big screen that when someone crosses like out of line, the criticism may be like overwhelming. Yeah, that also happens in Star Wars, but it's different because with Star Wars, I think that a lot of the criticism comes from
Not exploring the rest.
not only that, but from I don't even know how to explain it, but a lot of the criticisms come from like a personal view on the people that are chosen, not on the stories themselves, but on the and we discussed this last week with Kathleen Kennedy,
Yeah.
I think that a lot of the criticisms come from a personal point against someone, like it happened with Rian Johnson after The Last Jedi.
Yeah.
I can agree to some extent that The Last Jedi was
Yeah, that discussion that we already had of is
Yeah,
it
it
good
was-
or not?
it was divisive. I know
Yeah.
it was divisive. Personally, I would have changed a couple of things. Well, by a couple of things, I mean like more than a couple. But I can't say that the movie was bad. I can't say that I didn't enjoy it. because
Mhm.
I did enjoy the movie very much. Yeah, there were a couple of things that I would change, but I don't think that Ryan did it on purpose to ruin Star Wars. You know, like so many people
Are
did.
claiming to.
Yeah, yeah, and this is a discussion with like almost 4 to 5 years. You know, and they are still using the same arguments. And I think that some of the criticisms come from this personal point of view of attack against someone, not from, and like with Marvel, where a lot of those criticisms are because they think that the storylines were not adopted properly. And this is the difference that I sometimes point out when I'm comparing both of them, you know?
Mhm. One other has a storyline that they redo it several times, but they always acknowledge their existence. Other thing that's in Star Wars, they completely eradicated. Well, completely not, because they're still having their funny money with it, especially when they released the Legends books with all together new cover and all that shit, um, and the comic books and so on. They are still using the the copyrights of Lucasfilm for all that, um, and the copyrights of Marvel, because some others were already released by Marvel, if I'm not mistaken. But for the creation of the current story, they basically eradicated that, and one of there are basically two or maybe three or four, let's say it, people that are still grabbing that material, probably not alone, um, but they are still grabbing the material that was left in the expanded universe, which mostly are. Uh, um, I'm forgetting his name. God damn it. Favreau. Um,
Yeah.
The other one.
John
Um,
John Favreau and Dave Filoni
Dave
and
Filoni and Jon Favreau.
yeah.
Sorry guys, sorry. I'm terrible with names. And the father and son, or mostly the son of the team that did Solo.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, and there are other people which are still grabbing. I'm still curious with this new project of animated Star Wars, Star Wars
Obviously, yeah,
Visions.
obviously.
Which things are going to be canon-ish? What things are going to be expanded-ish? What things are going to be just out of the fucking mind,
Yeah. Like
new invention?
I think that the fact that they are using it and adapting from what was known as the expanded universe, which is now Legends, is very positive. You know, it's very positive because not only is a way to bring
Never forget.
to bring to life classic Star Wars stories, which a lot of them were. It's also a good way to bind some fans together, you know. But let's be honest, the expanded universe had a lot of good stories, but there were
Also terrible ones.
tons and tons of terrible ones, and I can only imagine the amount of work that they have when they are picking them and choosing which ones to adapt and where to put them, how to put them. It has to be a very exhausting work.
Yeah.
I mean,
Uh,
I can only imagine, you know.
No, I can imagine, because in the last movie, you have that scene where Chewbacca supposedly dies, and for a couple of minutes, our hearts were destroyed.
Yeah, definitely, yeah. If there's
But
if there's a character that you don't want to die,
it's
it's
Chewbacca.
Chewie. It's Chewie.
Yeah. But one of those suggestions that I gave last week, which was the show actually on YouTube, I learned that in the expanded universe, Chewbacca died, but died in the most stupid way possible. Chewbacca died because he was crushed by a moon.
Okay.
That's it. I don't know what the fucking happened to the moon. I don't know what the fuck happened to the planet. I just know that Chewbacca died.
Way to disappoint people, huh?
Yeah, died because he was crushed by a moon. I mean, like, this sounds like the battle between Superman and Batman, and Superman was a bitch ass from Russia which didn't care about America and just grabbed the moon and smash it against Batman. And in people would be fucked up afterwards because inside of the moon there was kryptonite, so that would be a fuck ass story. But moving on.
But yeah, that's kind of the thing, yeah. Because I mean, of all the ways that they could make Chewbacca be killed or die,
yeah,
they actually chose probably one of the dumbest ones.
No, it gets even more stupid. I'll look into this later on Wikipedia, but we've just did that information from the show, and you think about the first pun of Star Wars that's no moon, and then it gets shoved up in the arse with a moon. Yeah. It's like you're killing the wrong person with this joke. And it's not a joke, it's a bad one. It's a bad pun.
Yeah, but that goes basically like in agreement with what we were saying, you know. There are a lot of
many stories, yeah.
Yeah, a lot of stories that don't make
the cut.
A lot of sense, you know.
Yeah.
So it doesn't really make much sense bringing them now to canon, you know, because maybe there are not only better stories to adapt, but also a lot of people with good and original ideas to take Star Wars into the next step
level,
and
the next level.
And this to basically conclude what I was saying like a couple of minutes ago, which is you can make any type of story and any type of movie. You can actually make like a Godfather kind of movie with Star Wars. You can make an Apocalypse Now kind of movie with Star Wars. You can make a Goodfellas kind of movie with Star Wars. You can make like a
Sex in the City with Star Wars.
Yes. You can make a romantic comedy with Star Wars. You can make
no. They tried that and they failed.
Yeah, but you can but you can do it, you know. You can do it. You can make like a show like Friends with Star Wars characters. You can do so much different stuff that it's almost endless, the amount of possibilities and the amount of different approaches that are possible inside the Star Wars lore, that I can only be happy and hopeful about the future of Star Wars media, you know?
Yeah. I think that now I'm just thinking about Malcolm in the Middle, but Star Wars.
Yeah.
In a ship. And I was thinking like, how the fuck would that work?
It would work. It would work.
I think you have kind of that, honestly, with the Star Wars Force Builders, that little leg show where it was made during the boom of the Lego movie, with the stuff of everyone is a builder. You
Yeah.
can build stuff with your mind, and they expanded that to
And everyone
Star
has its
Wars.
purpose. Like everyone,
everyone
has
has purpose. So a young guy that none of his siblings had the Force, but he had, and then boom, he's a builder,
Yeah.
a Force builder.
Like what happened in the Legend of Korra, where suddenly everyone started to be a bender.
Yeah, but well, in Aang, in the original Avatar, I think everyone was a bender. I think in Legend of Korra, I think it was the opposite. I think people lost the ways of the bending.
Yeah, yeah. A lot
Um,
of people were not benders in the Legend
Yeah.
of Korra. Yeah,
I think it was some contamination with the
yeah. There was something like that. Yeah.
with the astral plane and such. Did you know that currently there's a Kickstarter for the RPG, tabletop RPG of the Avatar world?
Really.
Yeah,
RPG. That's nice.
yeah.
All I
Like-
knew was like the new Netflix show. I
New
only-
Netflix show?
Yeah, I think it's not Netflix. They are starting to develop a live action
Oh god.
The Last Airbender
Didn't
show.
they learn that with the movie that it was a bad idea?
I mean, the movie was directed by M. Night Shyamalan, so it could either be a bust or could either be a success. So
It was a bust.
yeah, it was a bust, yeah.
I think I think it was a bust, but not entirely to his fault, because they tried to grab so many shit of the first and probably second season and smash it into one.
You can't just cram 4
Yeah.
seasons of show into like 2 hours of movie. You just can't do
You
it.
can't shove that many crayons up your nose. Either way, you'll sound like the I'm Star Wars from
For
Simpsons.
I'm a Star Wars.
I'm Star Wars. What is his name? Ralph. You cannot
Ralph, yeah.
shove so many. I think there was a show which that was the plot. Someone was shoving so many crayons up his nose, then he sneezed, and one stayed there, and then they removed, and then it was a jackass genius. I don't remember which show it was, but I remember the thing that they always grab the X-ray covering with the finger, the crayon by accident, and when say yeah, you just move the finger. See, now you see it, now you don't. Now you see it, now you don't. Now you see it, now you don't. Honest mistake.
I don't know about that, but there's an American Dad episode where Stan just crams a nail, a floorboard nail, inside his head, and they can't take it out for a week, and basically he's unable to speak, but he turns out to be like a piano genius. It's so weird.
Oh my god. Speaking again about Star Wars. Do you know this fact? I really don't know. Beside the Lego Saga game, is there any other game in development currently?
Yeah, there's an open world Star Wars game being developed at Ubisoft. The same guys that make Assassin's Creed.
Oh shit!
I don't know. They're actually taking their
the
time.
No, the thing is, Ubisoft releases great games. Okay, great ass games. Prince of Persia. I never played Assassin's Creed, but it has a long list. Beyond Good and Evil, and others that we could name on. But they have a terrible thing. Their customer support is shit.
Yeah, it's shit. Yeah, it's shit. And lately their games, on launch don't come polished. So
Yeah, it's
a lot of them come with huge bugs,
yeah.
and lately they kind of feel rushed, like
They're under pressure.
the final Assassin's Creeds like Valhalla,
Yeah.
Odyssey, and whatever actually felt a little bit rushed. I started to play Valhalla, and
Mhm.
I got bored in within the first couple of hours.
Great.
I'm
I
I'm
didn't buy
kind
the game, especially
I'm
because of that option.
I'm struggling to continue it. I'm not gonna
Yeah.
lie, I'm struggling, and maybe, and this happens a lot of times with games. When you reach until you reach a certain point, it's like it feels like it's dragging. But
Mhm.
when you reach a certain point, it becomes incredible. But so far, and I'm still in the beginning, obviously, but it's feeling like a bit of a drag. Maybe
Yeah.
I'll start to enjoy it. Obviously, it can happen.
Yeah.
And I was pleasantly surprised in the past, so maybe this is going to happen as well. But from what I've known and from what I've read about this Star Wars game at Ubisoft, they are taking their time, like with the script and with the like the voice capturing, the motion captures. They are actually taking their time with the coding of the game. I think that they are going to use it on a new engine. I'm not
Oh.
sure. I'm not sure which one is it. I don't know if they are going to use the new Unreal Engine, but this is
Most
what
likely, honestly.
this is what I've heard. I
Yeah.
can't be sure because there are a lot of games that are going to use new technologies, like from sports games to action games. Because of the new consoles, they are going to use new engines, like NHL 22 will finally be on the same engine as FIFA. So
Mhm.
I guess we will have to wait and see how this new engine will affect the Star Wars game, and how polished the game will be. So if the game is going to come out polished without bugs and in a good condition, yeah, by all means take your time, take your time,
Yeah.
like what 343 is doing with Halo Infinite, and with what Playground Games is doing with Fable and Forza Horizon 5. So
Mhm.
if they are going to actually release the game in a complete and polished state, sure, take your time. I don't care. As long as the game is good and playable, sure. Because I think that people, and I'm sure I'm not alone in this. People are actually getting tired of buying full price games
That aren't finished.
that aren't finished and are full of bugs, So I guess we will have to wait and see. This Star Wars game, so far, I think that it doesn't even have a name or an official name.
Yeah.
So
If someone on Wikipedia or Wikipedia has a name, is like the secret project name.
it's
that
probably
someone.
saying like upcoming Star Wars game or Ubisoft Star Wars game or something.
Or a Kyber Crystal game, just because.
I don't think it even has like a project name to the outside. So it could be still like be 2 to 3 years away. I think that we may as well be getting a new Battlefront first from EA. This is something that I think, because Battlefield, the next Battlefield, is
Yeah,
releasing.
we talked about that last week.
Yeah, since the new Battlefield is releasing this year, maybe DICE is already working on a Battlefront 3, because they run on the same engine. They use basically the same basic mechanics. They use the same they share most of the coding.
Mhm.
So usually Battlefront 3 has a smaller team. That's why it usually takes a little while longer. But it also has a smaller player base, so obviously they're going to prioritize Battlefield instead of Battlefront.
Hmm.
But I actually think that we may be getting Battlefront 3 before Ubisoft's game.
Yeah. Do you think, now talking just a little bit about the Battlefront, do you think that you should receive the amount of experience that you have gained on the previous game, connecting the accounts? Because nowadays either you play on consoles which has an account to function, or nowadays you play most of the games either through Epic,
Yeah.
Steam, and so on. Do you think the experience and bonus, if they do
I'm-
a
I'm a-
connection between them, do you
I'm a- Yeah. No,
should
finish,
you
finish.
receive it, or should you receive some compensation about the time that you spent on the previous game, or should you start from zero?
I'm a huge defender of progression, like saving your progress, to the next game. But I think that this only works on annual titles, like
Mhm.
FIFA, like NFL, like NHL, like PES,
Yeah.
like Formula One, like WRC, because they are annual games, and most of these titles have an Ultimate Team game mode or something very close to it. So which is a game mode where you not only spend real money to get ahead of the competition, but you also
Mhm.
spend a lot of time grinding for those cards and for those special thingies that the game has. So on those games, I think that it should be existing a progress carry to the next game. Like on games like Battlefield, Battlefront, even Call of Duty, I don't think that it would work as well. But I also think that who buys those games should get some form of compensation, even if it is
Just a bonus because you have
yeah.
the save data.
whatever, maybe a cosmetic bonus, maybe
Yeah.
something,
Yeah.
And I also think that for particular case of Battlefront 3, they could make, instead of the usual standard edition and deluxe edition, they could actually make 3 different standard editions, like a Clone Wars edition, a original trilogy edition, and maybe a sequel edition, and people would buy the one that they prefer, and they would get those contents immediately, and the others, they would have to play and grind for them, like what happened on the second Battlefront, like
Yeah.
if you have preference.
Those who bought the special edition had the codes for immediately Rey and Kylo, and
Yeah.
the rest you would develop. Yeah.
So maybe we could have, if a person wants to play more with like the clones, and the Clone Wars era, the person buys the Clone Wars edition, and
Yeah.
instantly gets clone trooper armors,
Cosmetic shit.
cosmetic shit for clones, for droids, for prequel heroes and villains. All of that comes immediately with the game. And then, if they
Yeah.
want to get like skins for Imperials, skins for Rebels, they would grind like they would on a normal game. They
Or buy
want
the DLCs.
or buy the DLCs. Obviously, they would
But
buy the
that would
DLCs.
have to be fully cosmetic and not power-ups, because
That's the next thing I was going to say, because I think that EA has shifted their policies on games, and I think that they are going to start to invest more into the DLCs being cosmetic instead of like power ups and pay to win sort of mechanics like happened in previous
And in the beginning of
EA
Battlefront
games,
2
you know.
Basketball. Yeah.
Even in their sports titles, we are starting to see this shift because I was on the fence like about the new FIFA, you know,
Mhm.
and I actually like the last one, the 21, I bought on a huge and
Discount.
massive discount,
Yeah.
like half price or something. And I bought it because it had both versions, the old version and the new one, and I was like, yeah, this game is still the same. I'm not going to buy the next one, and if I buy it, it will be like on a huge discount, like I did this year. And a couple of weeks ago, we started to see like the first trailers and the first informations about the new game. And apart from the news that I wanted to see on the single player modes, which are the modes that I play the most, I had to just to look what they were going to change on the multiplayer modes, like on Ultimate Team and stuff. And I actually liked the changes. There's less pay to win now. You have a lot of
Which is
cards. Yeah, we have players that are playing the Ultimate Team will have a lot of challenges to win those special cards that you can easily buy with money. They will have more challenges to win them, so it can be easier for them to win them. There's going to be a lot of cards that you can only win by playing. There's going to be different challenges with different game modes, so it would convince players to play everything instead of just playing that one mode. And I think that this is shifting also to like the NFL.
The experience with the other games that they have.
Yeah, I think that EA is kind of understanding finally where they fucked up and how they fucked up. And I think that they are starting to change their approach to DLC policies and how they see a game as a service. So, because the second Battlefront was almost a game like a service, because we had constant updates and constant content coming out. And I can imagine that the next one will be just like that. But what I would suggest is like having those 3 editions would be I think that it would be a massive sales boost. Obviously, there would be one edition that would sell significantly less than the others.
The
obviously.
original. No, the significantly less. It would be the recent one.
Yeah, the recent one. Unless the recent one actually already contained the Ahsoka series, the Mandalorian, and unless the sequel pack would contain all of this, I think that it would be a massive difference in sales when compared to the other ones. And then the original trilogy section, the original trilogy edition and the Clone Wars edition would be very similar in terms of sale, but I think that it would anyway boost the sales of the game, and it would actually open so many doors for them to advertise the game on the market and win so much reach within the community that I think that a lot of people who would be pissed off with EA would maybe change their minds and actually buy the game day one. And if a lot of people play the game day one, it's a massive signal for these companies, because they think, yeah, the game is a success. Let's continue to invest in it, you know? So I think that it would be great for them to do this, but we have to wait because I think that it's still probably a year or two
Under
away
development.
from. Yeah.
Yeah.
Especially because DICE has a small team that is usually put on the Star Wars projects.
Yeah. Give me just 2 seconds. My apologies.
Yes.
I was receiving a call during recording. Fun.
And I don't know what the hell is happening with my microphone. I have to be constantly...
It goes up and down, yeah.
Yeah, I have to be constantly changing the volume for some reason. I don't know what's happening, so I'm sorry in advance for this.
I don't know what happened. During recording, I just boosted to the maximum the microphone on the program. I think it's working hella fine. But resuming the conversation concerning the game, I was asking this because you have different types of interconnections between games of the same franchise, of the same idea. For example, the games I play, if you play Kingdom Hearts or any other most typical recollection, or you can grab Kingdom Hearts, you can grab Ratchet and Clank, Crash Bandicoot, whatever. More in terms of the developing character than the Crash Bandicoot, because a Crash Bandicoot is a platform game, so it doesn't really interject with what I'm saying. But you have games like Ratchet, which is mostly familiar for all people that are listening, than Kingdom Hearts probably. You level up. Simple as that. You level up the weapons, your character, your moves, etc. And then the next game, you restart the shit all over again. Like someone made a prank on the guy and all the weapons were downgraded. I understand that some weapons are new. I understand that the weapons can be at level 0. But others you were like, yeah, you was used to in the second game with the 2 guns, brrr, full automatic jumping on the walls, and now I have to shoot one at a time again. Then you have games like the Banner Saga. The Banner Saga is if you don't know, a tactical RPG per se game. The characters don't develop that much, but there's a funny thing about that game. It's free games. During the course of the game, you do choices, or either just the choices. You also do resource control, like food, morale, and all that, between each stage of the adventure. And you also have some people that die. If they die permanently. And that affects the next story. Because if you have the save of the first game for the second game, you're going to grab everything that happened. Same thing for the third. It grabs on the save of the second game and brings everything that happened. It's like interjecting story. It still grows with you. And you had games across PlayStation 1, PlayStation 2 that would detect if you had a save and give you a bonus. You know? Mm-hmm. So I think that most games are now grabbing the full idea of you start from anew, but then it pains kind of in the soul when you start you stop doing something for that game. Games that people either invested time and more than time, it's important when they invested money and they just stop it and you have to start anew. When Magic the Gathering had like this platform on Steam to play, which was Magic Origins, and I read some people online on it's not Reddit complained that they invested money to open boosters there and so on because they thought it was going to be the new general setup mind for the online game of Magic, not just grabbing MTGO, which is Magic the Gathering Online, which is super basic, like the cards are gifts, nothing is animated and all that. They thought it was the next thing. And then Magic, without any announcement, stopped that game and said, we're creating a new one. And people ask, are we going to move the experience of and the things that we already got in this game to the other? Oh no. Like, that's like grabbing a knife and sticking on your tummy. You know?
Yeah, I understand that in some of those kinds of games, especially like sometimes on like games like RPGs and stuff, it could be helpful and could make sense. Have I don't want to say an experience gift or something, but it would be logical to have some sort of continuation of the progress that you already did in older titles of the game.
Even it was just an add-on, like you received this weapon at beginning because you played the previous game. Congratulations!
Yeah, like a small gift. Yeah. There are games that do that.
Still do that, yeah.
Which is nice. It's actually a nice touch by the developers, and like a wink to the people that are buying the game for the first time, like saying, if you buy the next one and you play a lot of this one, guess what you'll get, you know?
Another bonus.
Yeah. It would be
nice.
Nice. Yeah, that was the word I was looking for. I understand that it could be something that should be standard, but sadly not everyone is on board with it.
That idea, yeah.
Yeah, we can only hope and continue to remind them that it's something that people care about.
Which, in some way, it's something that the shows of Star Wars that I do is like a little bit of circle that I'm doing with this. The shows currently on Star Wars are grabbing things from the movies, are grabbing things from the other shows, connecting into a bigger story. Every time there's a new show and and someone of the old age per se appears, is like, what?
Yeah, it's a party.
Like you had I always forget this, Saw Gerrera. You had Saw Gerrera on the Clone Wars, then he appeared on the Rogue One. Everyone was like, what? And then you had Saw Gerrera on the Jedi Fallen, and everybody was like, what? And then you had Saw Gerrera on another show, on Rebels, and what?
And then on the Bad Batch.
And then on Bad Batch, and we're like, what? It was like, it's like the secret character that proceeds on. And the first time that I see R2-D2 on the Bad Batch, I'll fucking lose it.
Yes, definitely.
And you had what's her name? As Hera. You had Hera
Yeah.
on the show, and Chopper. When Rebels grabbed Darth Maul was fucking epic.
Yeah.
I think
it was really.
no one was fucking expecting that.
It was so well made.
It was like the end, and the part of the sister and the brother at the end was nice, but I think most people were focused just on the parts of Darth Maul, and then rewatched the show just for the rest.
Yeah.
That's my opinion, at least.
I also think it was that mindset that people had.
Yeah. They're still doing this little thing. Even in The Mandalorian, they did it. We still don't know kinda certainly how they're gonna do it with that other actress that was expelled from Disney because of her comments on Twitter.
Mm-hmm.
And we have to see how that goes.
Which is curious, and I think that this would be like an interesting final thought for this episode. I've read a couple of days ago. I read that J.J. Abrams was approached by Lucasfilms to be executive producer of a Finn story for Disney Plus, and apparently he wants the actor from the movies to come back and reprise the role of Finn, which is funny. Because he said already that after what happened, not just in the movies themselves, but with all the backlash around them, he did say that he wouldn't be available to return as Finn. So I actually thought that this was an interesting rumor.
Yeah.
Rumor. Obviously, it's still a rumor because it's obviously not. But I think it's an interesting rumor because I think that probably one of the only people that could make John return would be J.J. Abrams, because we also know, because it's public, because he said that in an interview, that he loved to work with him. So I want to hear your thoughts, not only on him returning, but on the show itself.
If he dropped the world on further project as Finn because of the backlash, it's interesting because I think it's one of, and I've said this before, I think it's one of the characters in the new franchise that add a really different, not different, there's a difference between the initial character and the final character. His turning point being in the middle of the franchise, for me, is a little bit especially because I think that the extra scene on the internet or DVD or whatever, where he basically went aliens on the block and smash it with the weapon. I think that would be even better for his turning point. But I still understand why he's not really happy about all the backlash he received, or the colleagues that received the backlash.
Obviously, he as a character didn't get any or almost any development within the 3 movies, because for some reason they thought that They wanted to go with that rogue stormtrooper
Mm-hmm.
story, and then halfway through it, they kind of gave up on it, which is stupid because I think that it was the most interesting thing of the movies was that
Yeah.
maybe on par with Kylo being
Going up and down in the Force.
yeah, and being the son of Han and Leia.
Yeah.
I don't know why they gave up on that stormtrooper going rogue and going conscious thing, but if this project is confirmed and they actually make him return, because I personally enjoy to watch him work. I just think that in Star Wars he didn't have the right environment to work.
Yeah.
But if you look at the other movies he was in, even terrible movies like Pacific Rim, he wasn't half bad, you know? He wasn't half
No,
bad.
I still think that the character of Finn was one of the most that had a turning point through the course of the three movies in different paces. But he had, in the first, he was a cry-ass baby. In the second, he had his plot twist. And in the third, it was like the champion moment.
Yeah.
Rey, unfortunately for me, stayed kind of
Yeah, Rey was the worst
bland,
out of all of them. Rey,
most of the movies. I think the turning point for her was condensed in just one movie, which was the final one.
yeah, because I don't know, maybe they wanted to like, I don't know if they were panicking or they were desperate. They tried to cram 3 movies of character development inside The Rise of Skywalker for some God knows reason. But yeah, I can agree that Rey was, out of all of them, was the worst treated. But I mean, Finn was still very lacking in that chapter, I think.
Poe for me was the smoothest transaction. It was already like, yeah. It was like, God, I'm really terrible with names. Hello, I'm forgetting his name. Huh?
Hux.
No. From the original ones.
The original one.
Hello, what do we have here?
Fuck.
Exactly.
Lando.
Thank you. Lando Calrissian. When people say it, I remember the name, but before that, my fucking brains are fucking nuts. He was like a Lando.
Yeah.
But not completely, and he needed that little push to be Lando.
Yeah.
Like, Lando also needed the push, but it was a smoother push at that time because he already has the operation.
Because Lando
had the city, flying city, and all that.
Yeah, Lando was almost forced to it with the presence of not only of the Empire but by Darth Vader himself.
But he already had some responsibilities, which
Obviously.
was more easy for him to become a general.
Yeah.
Now, Poe, to step up, he needed a fucking kick on the arse.
Yeah, and that's why Holdo is so important in The Last Jedi, because she's the one that actually gives him like the slap in the face and say, you have to wake up. You have to wake up if you were going to lead these people. You need to step up and be like a man, you know? Grab your balls and step up.
Literally grab your ball because he had a droid ball.
Yeah. A heavy droid ball, yeah.
But worst character development, which is worst but at the same time is not worst, was General Hux.
Sadly.
Because it was an interesting character.
Yeah.
Even the betrayal was like, yeah, I can see the fucking betrayal going this
Yeah.
way. The way he died
Was like dumb.
sad. It
Yeah.
was just to give authority to someone of the emperor at the
Yeah.
end.
Yeah. But
It
this
was
could
fucking
be.
pointless.
I think that this could be like a very interesting conversation for the next episode.
Yeah.
And I don't want to
No,
sound
I
rude.
understand, because we're almost hitting the 1.3.
Yeah,
1.5
because I actually have
step.
some. I actually have some stuff to do. Like
Yeah.
now,
And we still
so
have to give recommendations.
yeah. So I
Let's
don't
keep
want
it short.
to. I don't
Yeah.
want to hurry, but yeah, I'm so
Hurry.
sorry. I'm so sorry. But yeah, the recommendations this week are probably the same as last week. I spent a little more of time playing the Art of Rally, like I said last week,
Good.
and the way that they managed to incorporate that synthwave 80s vibe with minimalistic design and realistic rallying physics is like a gem.
Yeah.
And this would be my recommendation because this was a slow week because I was on vacation, so I didn't have a lot of time to do shit.
Now, it's funny thing that when you get finally vacation, and the dream of any kid was having vacation and play, when you reach adulthood, is like, oh, vacation, time to play? Almost zero.
Yeah.
Why?
You can-
Because shit.
Yeah, because you're never home, you always have stuff to do. You want
Yeah.
to enjoy the day, and fuck, when you remember that I wanted to play something. Yeah, you can't.
You can't.
Yeah.
You're a sad fuck, you can't.
So, recommendations on your side.
My recommendations. I think last week I said actually, and Viva la Villa Dirt League. Have you checked the channel?
No, like I said, I didn't have a lot of time. I plan on checking them like
But
tomorrow
you
or
have to
something.
have time for my shit, mate. No, I'm
True.
kidding.
I did
kidding.
open the YouTube channel. You did
Okay,
send me, and I
that's a
did
progress.
subscribe. I did subscribe.
Okay, at least you opened that. I think you
Yeah.
didn't open a lot of games during your vacation.
No, not really. Not really.
Beside that, what else? I think so. I talked about actually and Viva Dirt League.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think that I recommended like this channel that I'm currently following for some playthroughs of kind of modified RPGs, which is called Dimension 20.
Mm-hmm.
They have some playthroughs. Most of their episodes, I think, they're on dropout.tv. This is not a sponsor time. I'm just really enjoying the shit. I'm thinking subscribing to this specialized streaming service, which is not Netflix or Amazon or
Yeah.
HBO or
Yeah,
whatever.
yeah.
There was something that was going to also be released on HBO, but I forgot what it was. But it was like a good thing for me to watch later when it got out, but I'm not remembering what it was.
It wasn't
So-
on HBO. It was on Apple TV. It's Ted Lasso.
No, that was your recommendation. I saw something about a movie coming out and read something about also coming out on
okay.
HBO Max / HBO Portugal, where for
Mm-hmm.
Portugal, surprise. If you didn't stand by our Portuguese slur, then you fucked up.
Yeah.
But yeah, this is like a streaming just for nerd shit. There's also another streaming service for another type of nerd shit, but history. Like they have a lot of programs about history. Imagine History Channel, okay?
Mm-hmm.
But with less aliens conspiracy.
Yeah, that's what I was going to
And-
say.
but also they also have Alien stuff.
Nice.
But you can choose what to see. So you don't have to be pending of 22 hours per day of how alien conspiracy and 1 hour about the pyramids, which also leads to alien conspiracy, and 1 hour of the Roman Empire, which maybe also connects to alien conspiracy.
Nice.
Games. I don't know if anyone listening to us grabbed the promotion. I think you did. You grabbed the promotion from €1 for the PlayStation Now.
I didn't actually.
Oh, okay.
But
because you were playing some game that was available there, so I thought that you grabbed it.
But there's still time for that.
Actually, it ends today, I think.
Yeah.
And no, sorry, I think it ends on the 29th.
I think it's until the end of the month.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You just have to
it's like half price on PlayStation Plus as well. It ends on the end of the month, I think.
Yeah. On the bad side, because I grabbed my 3-month subscription when it was on discount with 20%, I cannot grab this €1 promotion, which is fucking stupid. But I was telling this about the promotion. I was also thinking about another promotion, but I forgot which one it was. So yeah, promotions. And beside that, what can I choose to give a suggestion? Lot of new games that came out this week, but I still haven't got time to play them. I think there's one, if it didn't look like that much anime-ish, I'll probably try it, which is Necro Barista Final Pour. And yeah, I think that new games came out, but we still haven't had time to try them. And I think that my suggestion is go read a little bit more. Go see other streaming platforms that are not the consumer base that usually people are most used to it. I like my Netflix and I like my HBO and so on, but sometimes the shows don't grab you that well, and we're still in August, but we're most in October. Yeah, September is that time for just waking up at the end. But when you reach October, it's just people starting gather up horror movies for that end of the month big party, because most people are getting vaccinated. And maybe you can grab one friend or two, just one friend or two, don't go fucking nuts, and do a little bit of Halloween party, and yeah, go nuts. These nuts. And I think that's the end of the show. Unfortunately, my colleague had to step out at the last moment, but he loves you all. He sends you big kisses, and I don't, because he already sending the kisses. And we'll call it for today. We'll be back in about 1 week. We apologize for the delay of 1 week. We're grown-ass men that unfortunately have shit to do. And thank you for listening. Have a good day, a good afternoon, a good evening, or a good night, depending on the hour you're listening to us. And see you next week. Bye-bye.